All right, let's get this road on the show. I'm old. I need to tell dad jokes. Anyway, we'll begin with the standard ritual. We're going to clean the screen. It is about time to get some new Windex. This is the all-purpose Windex. Came across a relatively horrifying video earlier today where a woman was washing her face and said, "Guys, do not clean your litter box with bleach." And I'm like, "Ooh, no, that's the recipe for mustard gas." And on top of that, cat urine in particular is very nasty with bleach because it's not so much that it has a bunch of ammonia as that it has a bunch of urea, and that creates a particularly nasty rearrangement of the molecules, which produces hydrazine gas. And chlorazine is bad enough, but chlorazine and hydrazine together, it's a very, very bad because, well, we all know that chlorazine is like a poisonous gas. Hydrazine is not just poisonous, it is rocket fuel. so, so it's not just something you don't want to breathe. It's very, very explosive, and that is bad. But anyway, this week's stream is going to be kind of an embarrassment. So, just like every other week's stream. And the reason is, I told you guys, the Starfield thing. I'm sorry, it's consuming a huge quantity of my time. So I did not have time to do any actual. It's not that I didn't have time to do practice during the week. Okay, I mean, I did have a bunch of shit to do outside because we have a new puppy, a reasonably new puppy. We had her for a month or two now, but we have a new puppy, and the new puppy has discovered that the split rail fence around our property is not really a fence at all. It's like hurdles. You can jump over them. So that's not going well, and I've been going around putting up fence around the perimeter, and the issue is that we have about a half dozen Japanese plum trees that are right next to the property line. Well, not next to the property line, next to the fence. They're right next to the fence, and they're encroaching upon the fence, and they're in danger of falling over and tearing down the fence anyway, so they need to come down. And that's going to be kind of a difficult project, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm not going to worry that much about it today because it's the middle of the fucking night. I mean, let's not put too fine a point on it. It's 11 p.m. Pacific time, so yeah, so that's kind of the thing going on there. I've had a lot of stuff to do out in the yard, and I've had a lot of stuff to do just like generally around the property. Let me re-aim this a little. There we are. There, that works. And now if I lean forward, you can still see me, and let me drop this down a little. Okay, so now if I lean forward, then you can still kind of see me. It's not a great view, but I feel like slick production values kind of make you look like a phony, like you're just a big phony. And I have enough trouble with imposter syndrome. I don't want my videos to look any particular way that makes me go, well, I'm just a big phony. So yeah, I did not do as much work this week as I wanted, but I did get to chapter 2 of Hogarth's book, and I got all of the pages kind of snipped and thrown into thrown into Clip Studio Paint so I could go through them, and I just never actually went through them. I never actually did anything with that. So I didn't do any practice, but we will be doing that today as I kind of go through this. And I'm going to be swapping back and forth a little bit because I have the PDF open up in Kindle, and I'm going to be using that so that I can actually fucking read it, because I can't read these tiny little letters and words on the screen. I am old. The amount of light that reaches the back of your eyes when you're 20 is twice what it is when you're 40. And I'm closing up rapidly on 60. I mean, I'm gonna be 4 soon, but 60 is closer than it used to be, and 40 was bad enough for, like, it's starting to get a little hard to see, and now it's definitely getting hard to see, and I suffer a lot more eye strain when I play video games for a long time. It's weird the way that happens. You know what else is weird? And I know I'm just kind of rambling and just more or less procrastinating the actual art part of this, because I'm about to go over material that I have not gone over or rehearsed at all. I'm not used to this. I rehearse everything, like every goddamn thing, all the time, and doing this, just like doing the whole "fuck it, we'll do it live" thing, is very stressful for me, and I'm pretending that I'm not stressed out, but I am very, very stressed out. This whole thing. And anyway, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, I was talking about eyesight. One of the things that just absolutely blows my mind is I know for a fact it's very, very good for me to drink water. And like 90% of the minor little annoying niggling problems, like my eyes itch and I don't want to look at anything and my eyes won't focus and I'm kind of cranky, there's like most of this stuff could be solved if I just drank a liter of water. And I have a liter of water. I have a liter of water right here. That liter of water has been there for 4 days. I haven't taken a single drink of it. And it's just like, it would be so easy. It would be so goddamn easy to just, every morning, when I get up, drink a liter of water. Then go refill the liter of water and set it back down, and like, yeah, then the next morning I drink that. You know, it's just, if I just drink a liter of water every morning, so many of my little annoying problems would go away. But for some reason, I would rather deal with those annoying problems all day than spend 3 minutes drinking water. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, but chances are pretty good that it's wrong with you too, because that's how human beings are. I don't know why. We're perverse. We are fundamentally selfish, lazy, ignorant, and mean. That's just the way human beings are. You have to teach children not to be selfish, lazy, ignorant, and mean. They come out of the gate. I mean, we all remember that, like, if you've got kids, you remember that when they're toddlers, they want everything to be theirs. They're very concerned about, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. I never had that with my kids. I don't really know why. If I were to speculate, it would be because I was always very concerned about making sure my kids had stuff that was theirs, and it was definitely theirs, and we did not take it away, and we did not deprive them of it. But I don't know. I mean, was that it? Was that not it? I don't know. Lazy is another thing you have to teach your kids out of. You know, you have to teach them to actually go and get shit done. To, like, stop doing what they want to do and go do what they need to do. Like, practice your art. which this is why I do this stream. I mean, fundamentally, if I didn't do this stream, I would spend weeks or months not doing anything. But with a stream that I have to do every week, the idea is every week I have to do 20 minutes, and I'm going to try to do an hour on camera. And it's also really helpful to actually get stuff on camera, because this is something that I'll be able to look back on later and go, yeah, I am making progress. I am seeing definite progress. I do that already with like looking at my old pieces and looking at my new pieces and going, yeah, I'm making progress. But I really got burned out on character design a couple of weeks ago, like a month ago, really. And I got so burned out on it that the joy went out of everything. There's this thing where you can turn what you enjoy into a chore. And when you turn it into a chore that you don't want to do, you gotta switch things up and you gotta do something different. And the challenge is you have to do something different that is actually going to get you closer to your goals. And there are a couple of things that I'm really, really bad at, and one of them is hands. Everybody's bad at hands. But I want to be good at hands, because I'm a comic book guy, and I used to look at Steve Ditko's, man, this guy can draw some great hands. And I'm a huge Burn Hogarth fan, and Hogarth has these great dynamic art series. And really kind of the issue I run into with a lot of stuff around hands, or with a lot of training about hands, a lot of the teaching that you see about how to draw hands, is it doesn't get very technical. And there's this halfway, I think I mentioned this last week, but God damn it, this chair is awful. Stop it. Lift back up. There we go. Okay. But Hogarth has this interesting thing where a part of him is in love with the human body as engineering, with the human body as a machine made of parts that fit together. And another part of him is very clearly in love with the human body as a whole. And the human body just looks fantastic to him. And he does all kinds of work, showcasing the human body, and particularly the human body in motion. A lot of people do instructional anatomy stuff, and they don't cover the mechanics. They just go, oh, here's this nebulous concept of, the way things look, because isn't it cool the way things look? And Hogarth really kind of digs into the middle of things and goes, let's look at how it all fits together. Let's look at the pieces. And that, I think, is much more approachable for me, to approach it as parts and to look at it as a collection of parts that fit together. Ugh. All white. My coffee. Kind of in the way. There we are. And I've got a fairly large brush there. The brush is set to 60 pixels, but it's also set to pressure sensitivity on the size. So because it has pressure sensitive size, I can control just how strong it is. Even when I press really hard, you see this is what 60 looks like, because I'm working at a very high resolution. I'm being scatterbrained. I'm procrastinating. Leave me alone. There were a couple of things. There were two particular comments on last week's stream, and one of them was "Love the anatomy knowledge." It's all coming from Hogarth. That's all. Well, it's not all Hogarth. It also comes from. I've got a book already. Let me grab it so you can see it. is Gino Barksay's Anatomy for the Artist. I've had this forever. Yeah, it's this is from, yeah, this is 1982. So I've had this book for 40 odd years, and that's where I get a quantity of my anatomy from, and also obviously I study Bridgman. Obviously I study a bunch of the other things, but Hogarth's dynamic anatomy is that's kind of the gold standard for me, and we may get into that in a future stream. But the other thing was, Bueno Arturo commented, "I like your progress so far, and advice from me is that perhaps you should focus more on doing clean sketches. Going from line art straight to full-blown colored illustration is tough." And he's completely right. I absolutely do need to focus on doing clean sketches, but my primary concern right now is just to make the thing that I'm drawing look like the thing I'm drawing. I'm not so concerned with clean, and I'm concerned with, does it read, and can you read it? And that's going to be kind of sloppy for a while, and it's not going to be clean and refined for a good long time, but it will eventually get there. Like, yeah. I'm not very good at the clean line art thing at all. I do know all of the kind of hallmarks of it, which are to do long strokes and to keep them very simple. Don't go too far into it. And I don't know if you guys have noticed it all, but all of my layers that I work in Clip Studio Paint are vector layers. I do all of my work in vector layers. So when I want to do some modification on them, I have a huge quantity of tools to work with on this. Like, where are my vector? There we go. So right here, if I come over here and I go down to my control points and I scroll in, you can see that here I've got all the little points of my vector lines that I can alter and move around, and this is waiting for me to be at a point with my art where I'm going, oh, I would like this to be cleaner. Let me clean it up. And this is one of the many reasons that I use Clip Studio Paint. But I have all the tools in place to turn sloppy line art into very clean line art. I have all of the materials that I need for that, and that was done very advisedly. I've got a lot of stuff that's sitting here, and I'm working a lot on process. I mean, I'm fundamentally a pencil and paper guy. Like, oops, all kinds of shit. This is my tool of choice, the Stettler lead holder, and this is what I have used for many, many, many years. And I have only just gotten really, really serious about working on my art and about putting it into digital format and working with it in that fashion. So over the past 2 years, what I have mostly been doing is I'm trying to take a moderate amount of traditional art skill with a pencil and paper and bring it to digital art. And one of the big things about that, and this is the thing that I really wanted to hit on the question of clean line art. The thing about line art is that lines are about edges, okay? Lines are about edges, and everybody needs to work with edges, of course. Let me work with the sketch brush here. A sketch brush is actually designed to do that kind of fuzzy line thing because it's semi-transparent, and because it's semi-transparent, as you go over it, it becomes darker. So, kind of builds that form bit by bit. So drawing using lines is all about edges, okay? But using color is about shape. It's about understanding where the shape is. It's a very different concept, funnily enough. Because here we've got something, let's say that the light is hitting it here, and then you've got this next side over here is in shadow. And in order to showcase that it's in shadow, you want it to be a little cooler, and you want it to be a little less saturated. And you want it to be a little less bright. And understanding how to make that happen with color is something that I've never really worked with, because I'm a pencil guy, you know? I work with pencils. I work in blacks and grays, and I don't really do any work in ink. I don't do work that can't be erased. But all of this is, working in digital is new to me. And because it's new to me, even after 2 years, I'm constructing my own sort of methodology on this. It's like I don't hold my stylus the same way that other people do, because it's kind of it's a midway point. A lot of people kind of do the crab thing, and I'm left-handed, so you know it's even more of a crab thing. There's a little less of a crab thing with right-handed people who tend to hold something like this, whereas left-handed people tend to curl it around all the way over there. So it's much more of a crab thing going on, but it's also not quite the atelier style of holding it in the fingertips and directing it like that. And this particular method of holding the stylus, well, I got this from Mantis Kung Fu because I'm a martial arts guy, and that felt right to me. And it gives me all of the benefits of the atelier style, but it also gives me more control with my thumb. So I like this better. Every art teacher I've ever had has told me it's wrong. But there's a lot of stuff I do that is kind of counterintuitive. And because it's counterintuitive, it can look wrong to other people. And maybe it is wrong, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But one of the things I've found is that as I go from a sketch, which is where I would typically do, and you can see that I've got everything is like color coded. So like right here, I can do my notes and I can say, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. And it's very badly written because I've done a bad job of writing it. My stylus is way too big. That's somehow gotten jacked up to 150 there. There we go. A better idea is actually legible. And I write my notes in this kind of green color. But when I do my sketch, when I do like my gesture line, and I set up kind of how the person is standing, I just go, you know, here's your guy, and this guy is gonna have his arm kind of hanging back here, and There it is, and he's going to have the other hand is up in the air, and he's proclaiming something. Well, there's your problem, he shouts. And of course, he has to put a foot back, because if you drop a line down from the pit of the neck, that line has to fall either on a foot or it has to fall between the feet. That's something that I'm working very hard on as well, is trying to figure out how to make sketches feel like people exist in a space. I'm not good at that. I don't do backgrounds. I don't do color. I don't do multiple things in the same scene. I have trouble with scale, and all of these are issues that I need to work on. And there's a world of stuff that needs to be worked on, you know. And I'm continuing to work on all of it. And then over here I have my construction, which goes in a light blue color. And I kind of think of the neck as a pipe that tunnels into the body here. And there's this sort of cage that wraps around that. And if you think about that, if you think about the neck as one sort of tunnel leading into the body that leads down into your guts, and then the spine is a parallel pipe that leads along beside it, and you've got one that runs down to your guts, and you've got one that runs down to the back of your butt. If you think about that kind of parallel pipe thing going on, then it makes a whole lot of stuff easier to think about. Like when somebody is turning their head, okay, their throat can't move out of here, and their spine can't move out of here. So as they turn, the spine is less flexible than the throat. It's the throat that kind of wraps around. Okay? So like as you turn your head, it's the soft tissue that moves. And it's counterintuitive, because you'd think that as you turn this way, this muscle would pull out, but it's this one that pulls out. The one right here, the one that you're pulling toward, stands out. And the reason that stands out is because it's pulling in to move your head. And there's all kinds of just little stuff like that. But when I go through and I do my actual construction, I go, here's the shoulders, here's the arm, here's the other arm. And this is where I sort of look at all of my proportions and figure all of that out and go, I never did figure out what this guy's other hand is doing. I would need to put his hand in there. And that would need to go there, and you need to figure out how far is he back, and where is his balance, and how does that look. And I've been kind of focused on doing an anime style lately, but my roots were really in Western comics and trying to work around that, and particularly the 1990s X-Men were like a big deal for me. I mean, the 80s and 90s X-Men, but it was in the 90s that I really just kind of went, oh yeah, this is great stuff. And yeah, so I kind of color code everything, and I do the red and blue thing because somebody told me to. I don't know if I necessarily like the red and blue thing. Like, I don't know if that's what I want to keep doing, but I've been thinking about maybe altering my process. But one of the things that I do is I go from sketch to construction, and then I go directly to flat color. I go directly to, if I Control-Z my way back through here. I Control Z my way all the way through here. I typically go straight from this to flat color and just kind of rough in what exactly it is that I want to do. So if I want this guy to be wearing a pair of blue jeans, then I would just sort of choose the appropriate color, and I would switch to my line, and I go, okay, yeah. So let's work with a very wide brush and just kind of rough out the shapes. And those shapes that I put together, thinking about the actual shapes of what I'm working on is helpful to me. Not just the edges, but the shapes. And having that shape reference really does help me with putting the line art together. Once I've done that, I'll drop the opacity down on the sketch and the construction, and then I go into the line art and I drop things down substantially, and I go, okay, so here is so here is sort of the line of the shoulder. There's a line of the arm there, elbow, forearm. And this is the part where I'll go into line art after I've actually put that together. And this is where everything falls apart because I'm bad at drawing hands. This is actually better than I typically. There's a lot of stuff that I can see here. I've done better than I used to, but at the same time, it's just nowhere near good enough. And I haven't even gotten to the part where I'm drawing masculine and feminine hands, because I typically draw anime chicks, and that's like the thing that I do. But I'm starting with Hogarth's dynamic hands. Oh my God, we're half an hour in, and I haven't actually done any meaningful practice on hands or talked about hands like at all. Anyway, you can see here, you can probably read on screen the proportions and measurements aspect of everything. Anyone who's tried to draw the human figure has quickly learned that the hand is among the most complex of the body forms. To draw the hand accurately and with precision, you must know how to relate the individual parts to each other and how to unify the separate elements. And blah, blah, blah. Knowledge of proportions is necessary in art, should be used as a learning station to expressive adventures. This chapter will introduce essential measuring cues and their use in drawing the hand in correct proportion. This is something that I have studied and studied and studied for a long time, and I have just never really internalized it. We're going to pop open reference here to we're going to take a look at this. And the first thing that we've got is when we kick down we kick that down. Oh, here's an interesting thing. When you set a, if you have layers that are set to multiply, like I take this and I go, yeah, that's in multiply mode, they will overlay one another. Okay? They'll overlay one another if they're separate. But if you take those same images and you put them into a folder that's set to multiply, okay? Like right here, if I set this layer to multiply, if I set layer 1 to multiply, if I set layer 1 to multiply, then it overlays all of the other layers, okay? But if I leave this on normal and I move it into the folder that's set to multiply, it's the combined collection of images that gets multiplied. So you can see in regular mode, in add mode, everything just covers up, okay? And when you put it in multiply mode, it still covers up. It's just the final covered up series gets multiply overlaid on top of the image. So that's an interesting technique. I don't know if I've explained it well enough. This is the shittiest stream I've done in a long time. It's just rambling garbage. I don't know what to tell you guys, okay? But let's move on from this and let's talk a little bit about proportions. This is about palm and finger measures, and the text is kind of small, but I have it much larger on another monitor. The palm is the governing form of the hand. It varies in shape from rectangular and make sure I get it. From rectangular to square. And you can see here, still using not the right brush. It varies in shape from rectangular to square. So it could be long, it could be kind of squat. It wouldn't be kind of squat, would it? It would be either square or it would be long. So it can be longer than a square this way. If you think about the thumb coming off in this direction, it could be longer, but I don't think it would be shorter than a square. I don't think that would ever happen. From the palm, proportions and measurements of the entire hand can be determined. Note two important measuring cues shown here. First, the palm begins at the center of the wrist, right here. So this is where your palm begins, even though this is the back of the hand that they're showing. Extends to the base of the middle finger B, which forms part of the palm knuckle bulge. The thumb emerges as a narrow triangular wedge, blah, blah, blah. Right? Extending at about a 25 to 30 degree angle. So the 30 degree angles that I've been drawing, which is roughly what I'm doing, is I kind of start with a rectangle like this, and then I just kind of draw a little 30, 60, 90 triangle there and a 30, 60, 90 triangle there, which really gives me a 30, 30, 120 triangle. What it ends up with. The base of the triangle aligns with the vertical midpoint of the palm. The base of the triangle. The base of the triangle. Here, this is the base of the triangle. Like here's the thumb coming in here. The base of the triangle aligns with the palm. So that's in the center. So in other words, that's in the center. Okay, so you've got your palm, which is either square or a little bit longer than square. Fingers come off of that. You got your palm, and you have the thumb coming out from that at a 25 to 30 degree angle. And right at the center, right in the middle, is where that kind of ends. So right here like this. This is sort of the situation you're looking at. Okay, so let's see, the base of the triangle G aligns with the vertical midpoint. Okay, yeah. Hogarth does such great work. I'm always in awe of how Hogarth does like all of the detail on everything. Like you can see all of the bones in here, and it doesn't make the hand look creepy at all. It just, all of the bones are just there because he knows where everything is. It can be so demoralizing looking at somebody like Hogarth because you know as you look at this stuff and you see what he's done, and you're in the presence of the master's work, and that's intimidating, really. The palm at its longest point, A to B, is the same length as the middle finger, B to F, right there. So, you know what? Let's test this. Control Shift. We'll select that, and now we'll grab the lasso tool. We're going to grab just this image right here, and we're going to copy. We're going to come up here to line art, and we're going to paste. Now we know which one we're working with because one of them is actually like opaque. So we're going to start off. I'm going to drag a ruler out. I'm going to drag a ruler out from the side here. Cancel that. Let's drag a ruler out from the side there. And now we'll transform. Okay. What are the, oh, good Lord. Wow, no. Yeah. Oof. Like any, here's the, oh, did I just copy everything? Holy crap. I don't want to do that. Let's, just delete all of those. Wait. That ended up being bad. I'm gonna do a wait a minute. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on here. What I want to do is I want to. Ooh, that's not. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what's going on here. So we're looking at proportions, and we want to go Control C there. We want to go Control V there. Promotions, that's proportions copy, and we want to deselect. And we want to. I'm still figuring out what the hell I'm doing. This with this digital art shit. But yeah, okay. Now we're going to Control T. Now, as I was saying, let's check this. First of all, let's line this guy up. Let's get that vertical right there. And then let's go right here and we'll get a measure there and a measure there and a measure there. Now let's test whether these proportions are correct by coming up here, and we'll go to proportions copy, and we'll go to, I don't want liquefy, move layer, and we hit shift, phase, place, and we're gonna move down like so. Hey presto, it is in fact the same distance because Hogarth is a fucking master. What can you do? It's demoralizing looking at his work. It really is. You go, oh man, I'm never gonna be that good. It's not true. You will be if you work that long, but holy crap, he's good. So let's proceed here. Each section of the middle finger is half the length of the one above it. That goes against Bridgman. Bridgman says it's 2/3 the length of the one above it. So he says the first phalanx and finger knuckle is half the length of the entire finger, And the middle and phalanx and second knuckle is half the length of the first. And if the terminal phalanx is divided, we have the length of the fingernail. That's interesting. So the fingernail then, I'm not going to get a whole lot done here, am I? So the fingernail is therefore, if I work in a construction sort of, that needs to be rounded off. So if we've got a knuckle here, and here's the end of the finger here, then end of the fingernail will be there. Am I working just by feel for that? But I got a lot of construction lines in here that obviously I would not want to have in a final piece. Then that would be our first knuckle there. Then we'd have a second knuckle, which would be twice the length. Yeah, that feels way too long. I don't know that I agree with Hogarth on this. It's like, it kind of does draw a sort of long and spidery hand when you think about it. If it's half, okay, so if you've got half, then the first knuckle is 1, and the second knuckle is 2, and the third knuckle is 4. But if it's 2/3, then what you get is something more like we've got 1, and 1 is 2/3 of 1.5. Turn is 2/3 of 2.25. So this is a 7-unit finger, and this is a 4.75-unit finger. So what we have here is we have kind of a difference in Bridgman saying the finger is like 5 units long, and Hogarth saying the finger is 7 units long. Now I'm not sure which of these things I agree with more. I'm a digital guy, I'm a computer guy, so I'm very fond of binary, and this 4-2-1, I like that, I really do. I don't like the palm being 7 units long. I don't like the 7 and 7. I do kind of like the idea here. Is there a compromise? Like, what if instead of 2/3 the length, or 1/2 the length, two-thirds, that's 4/6, and this is 3/6. Huh. I am not sure. What if it was 3/5? What if it was 60%? We start with a 1 up here. 60%. This is hard to work out. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this length of the fingers thing because, number one, Hogarth's hands are very long and spidery. I don't think I want mine that long and spidery. And I think the way I want to think about this is it's a difficult question. Let me check what Bridgman has to say about this. Yeah, see here we have here we have a statement on this. When curled close, the ends of the fingers just cover the heads of their first phalanges. That is, they lie with their tips against the knuckles, supporting them. This is a mechanical necessity in fitting the fingers into the fist. Thus, the two outer segments are longer than the first, but when measured from the back of the knuckle, the first segment is equal in length to the latter two. So what Bridgman is saying is that the finger is divided precisely in half. So just like the hand is divided in half at the root of the middle finger, and then we've got a half there. This is another half. Hogarth has it a little bit longer than a half. So if that's 2/3, and this is also 2/3, so we've got an x plus y plus z equals 4/3. Wait a minute. This one is 2/3 of this one. This one is 2/3 of this one. So we've got a 4/9, and we've got a 6/9. So these two together come to 10/9, and that's the length there. Yeah. So that's the rule of thumb that Bridgman is using is 2/3 is 2/3 of y. So this is and then that's half. So that fits together well. Kind of bound up in this at this point. Huh. But to finish up, kind of, let's finish going over this one page of Hogarth. Other symmetries also exist. Schematic drawing at right shows the index and fourth fingers to be equal in length. Also, the tips of the index and fourth fingers terminate at the nail bed of the middle finger. Not all people show these equal lengths exactly. fucking hell. They do. They go to the nail bed. It's kind of amazing. But a large enough majority have them to make this a feasible premise. Now note how the end of the little finger aligns with the knuckle of the terminal phalanx of the fourth finger, right there. Okay. So those are equal. That's the nail bed. And the little finger comes to right there, which means the little finger is if that's 1 and that's 2/3, the little finger is about 2/3 the length. Is it? Thirds. Two and 1/9, so that's 19/9. And that's 15/9. So no, it's not 2/3. It's about 3/4. The little finger is about 3/4 the length of the middle finger. Or if you use Hogarth's proportions, the little finger is 6 units, whereas the ring finger is 7 units. And again, the tendons that connect the middle finger, they're very tight on this. Hogarth goes into that. Hogarth goes into the anatomy of this, and let me just kind of check and see where exactly that was. Pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure he has an actual diagram. Yeah, right here. Here it is. So when we look at the dorsal view of the right hand, and this is kind of detailed. Where did it just go? Where's the layer I just pasted in? Okay, so I don't know where it went. Here's the diagram right here. Now you can see that the tendons that connect the ring finger right here. Whack okay on that, and line art, and delete all of that. You can see on this diagram here. Here's the tendon down the ring finger. It's larger. Here's that tendon coming down the ring finger, and you can see that it's connected here to the middle finger and to the little finger. Okay? It's got this kind of tight connection there. There's also a connection between the index finger and the middle finger, but that connection is not as tight because it doesn't wrap up over the knuckle. You can see here, here's the knuckle right here. Here's the knuckle here and the knuckle here. When you look at where the knuckles are in relation to this, okay, the connections come in just behind the knuckles, but where these connections are located on the ring finger bind it up much more with the way that they're connected. Because you can see here that because they do kind of this zigzag thing, okay? Because they do this zigzag thing, first of all, the index finger only has one little zigzaggy point on it. It only has that one little bit right there, okay? So the index finger can move quite reasonably. And over here, we've got the connection on the middle finger. You see how it's this V pointing forward? That V pointing forward gives it a lot more room to move around. But these two here, these two tendons point backward, which makes it really difficult for the ring finger to do much movement at all independently of these two. It has to move with them so that one or the other side of it is freed up. If it moves in concert with the middle finger, then it's got a little more play because of that forward reach there. And if it moves in concert with the little finger, then it gains that additional freedom of moving along with this. So it's only really bound by that one tendon. So those the way those tendons fit together there, that kind of zigzaggy motion, that's what makes the ring finger kind of float back and forth between being coupled with the middle finger and coupled with the little finger. I don't have a lot of actual meaningful observations about the name. So when I have one, I tend to go over it a lot. But, holy crap, that's a whole hour. We've been in here for a little over an hour now. Where is this? Right here? Okay. I'm just going to turn that off, but I'm going to leave it in here. Okay, yeah, so that's all the stuff there is to say about this particular area, I think. This is the tip of the... Okay, there are a couple of other things here. The thumb also aligns with the palm and palm knuckles. Let's take a quick look at that. The palm aligns with the thumb aligns with the palm and palm knuckles. The index finger knuckle eye okay, yeah, here. Lines up with the knuckle at the midpoint of the thumb. Well, also got the I and J mixed up. And the tip of the thumb lines up with the first phalanx of the index finger. But it's not true for me. It's not even remotely. Like, my thumb's not even close. My thumb's, like, short. I got workman's hands, though. Fingers are stubby. It's a problem when I'm playing guitar. And the tip of the thumb lines up with the first phalanx of the index finger. These are idealized proportions, though. Hogarth does love his idealized heroic proportions, and that's what he's talking about here. And anyway, we've gone over an hour just on this one page. Really? Man. I was trying to go through the whole chapter. We'll go through more of the chapter on... we'll go through more of the chapter next week, I guess. I thought we were going to do more on this. There is a lot of... there's a lot of information in this chapter. A lot of stuff about foreshortening and measuring the long fingers, the little finger. A lot of stuff. That's kind of how Hogarth works. He does a lot of detail. There are a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff to look at and a lot of stuff to think about. It's really a great series. I really highly recommend that you look at Hogarth's work. I mean, at the very least, get his collected Tarzan strips, and that'd be a good thing to to read and examine. But yeah, let's go ahead and save that in Clip Studio and Dynamic Hands 2. I have any porn in here? Right? Dynamic Hands 2.clip. There we go. And there we go. So anyway, yeah, that's gonna be the stream for this week. Do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all of that happy horse shit, and I will proceed to spend another week playing Starfield, and we'll see if I get any actual practice in. I don't know. I have a problem. Okay, bye.